thanks everyone for joining today. I'm Patrick, I'm the head of business development, and with me is James. He's also in the business development team. Together, we're going to talk you through some of the history of Hammock. We'll show you some of the features that we released recently. Yeah, we'll give you a bit of an idea of some of the add-ons that are available through Hammock, and also we'll give instructions at the end for the free market appraisal that you're entitled to by having joined. Just one small piece of logistics before we get started. If you move your mouse towards the bottom of the screen, it should give you the option for chat. That will basically be the way for you to ask questions. So if at any stage during the presentation you have any questions to ask, feel free to write them down. And at the very end, James will will go through them. If we can't get through all the questions, we will follow up by email, but we'll do our best to get through it today. Super. So if there are no questions from the chat before we get started, we'll go straight into it. So yeah, the founder of Hammock is a landlord himself. This is where the problem started. He was using a bank account like many people and being fairly organized. He was using spreadsheets to stay on top of his property finances. And he realized pretty quickly that he was spending a lot of time doing some fairly basic tasks. So he was spending ages looking at bank statements to see if tenants had actually paid him. He was spending a couple of days a year preparing his taxes to be filed. And one day he actually did a deeper dive. So he actually looked at the data he had in his spreadsheets and realized that one of his properties was running at a loss. So although the overall portfolio was at a profit, there was a particular property that was losing him money. And he kind of came to the realization that a traditional bank account with just a bank statement and a spreadsheet that he used on the side wasn't the best way to go ahead, and that it was effectively losing him time and money. And that's really where Hammock began. It was this idea of giving you the opportunity to be instantly organized by bringing the full power of financial technology to the property sector. And how can you use Hammock? So Hammock is available to you in two ways. One that you might already be familiar with, which is open banking, where effectively you give Hammock read-only access to your bank statements, and we can read those transactions, put them in context, and give you a full view of what's happening with your portfolio. In September, we'll be launching the current account, which we're very excited about. And this will basically be an opportunity for you to, if you wanted to, switch from your current account to Hammock's. And this will give you a whole added level of bookkeeping and transaction monitoring and a whole bunch of extra functionality on top of open banking. You know, it's for some, it's not for everyone, but the option is for you to use either of these products or use them together. So that's something to look forward to that we'll be telling you a bit more about a bit later. And yeah, so why Hammock? So from our perspective, there are three key pillars that drive value, that we're things that we're trying to achieve for you. And first of all, we really see ourselves as a financial technology company, and we're bringing the power of technology to the property sector to help you make better financial decisions. So we want to take all that data that's sitting in a current account in a list of transactions and help you see what's actually going on in terms of your financial health as a landlord. Secondly, we want to just save you from doing all those manual admin tasks that don't really need a person. Any computer is capable of reading whether you've been paid or not. They just need to check for a transaction. And so we want to bring all that kind of automation into your life by connecting to your account and reading what transactions are happening. So we can quickly notify you if you've been paid or not by a tenant in any 1 month. And finally, as I said at the start, when the CEO did his taxes before, it would take him a couple of days to prepare them. This year, he filed with Hammock for the first time, and it only took him 30 minutes. So this really is a good example of how we're trying to make things simpler, save you time and save you money in the whole process by giving you even more accurate tax preparation in the process. Perfect. with that, I'm just going to go through a short overview of the product and give you some of the highlights around features that we've recently released. And for that, I just need to switch over to our actual product. Perfect. So you should now be able to see the property page. And this is really the first page that you will ever see with Hammock as a new customer. And obviously, as you join as a new customer, you won't have the list of properties here. You can easily add them through these boxes. And at the top, we're basically telling you how many properties you have recorded with us, how many are vacant, if you have any arrears. And the really powerful piece around this page is that we take all those transactions that are in your bank statement and we translate them into insights about individual properties. So as you can see here, you've got income, expenses, profits, and even arrears, whether it's arrears or credits, listed by property. And all this is possible from linking to your bank account. So once you've linked your bank account, you will give basically Hammock the access to read all the transactions that are stored in it, and you can add any number of bank accounts. And then all you need to do is click on edit transaction and tell us which property it relates to and what category of transaction it is. If it's something like a rental income, which is a regular payment that we can expect roughly at the same time of the month every month, we only need you to tell us once. And after that, in future, we will be able to track on a recurring basis whether that transaction has been paid or not. The reason why we wanted to focus on transactions today is that we recently introduced split transaction, which was came to us by high demand. So with split transaction, you can now take any expense that might be for multiple properties or might be different types of expense all within one, and you can split them up. So here, for example, you can say £40 was on this property and it was a maintenance cost. You can add a row and say that the rest of it, the 110, that properly, was for a different property. And this is a very nice way to actually more accurately manage your bookkeeping. That was one thing that we've been asked about. The second thing that is worth talking about is the arrears view. So we had a lot of feedback that it was a little bit hard to actually understand what was going on with arrears for only one tenant. So now in the tenant page, we've split the view in a much clearer structure. So you can see the payment periods, the amount that was due, the amount that was received in that period, and then the ultimate balance, whether someone is in credit or in arrears at any one time. And you can see historically how that has performed. And finally, the other bit that's quite exciting, for those of you who have been with Hammock for a while, you might remember the old look and feel of Hammock. We now have started building this whole health center where you can really see what's going on with your portfolio. Most notably, the profit and loss, you can see the occupancy. If you have any missing payments, any that are within the last 3 months will show above your upcoming payments, so you always know which tenants you need to chase. And you can expect a lot of evolution in this hub. This is really meant to be for you to understand what's going on with your portfolio, how to make better financial decisions. So we would love to hear from you after this call, or if you want to put comments in the chat around what you would love to see here. And then just to remind you, at the end of the year, all those transactions that we tracked for you, that you tell us, that you tag for us, come listed here, and you can download it as a CSV and send it to your accountant if you're using an accountant, or you can just use these numbers for your self-assessment. Perfect. So if we go back to the presentation, let's quickly go through those highlights of like what was new for you in this presentation. So first of all, new look and feel. As we're saying, what we're driving towards is really giving you a complete picture of your financial health as a landlord, and particularly in terms of your property portfolio. So you will be seeing a whole bunch of evolution in this area. But this is a first version of that, where we're starting to make visible the kind of data that the bank actually has on record, and but that your bank statement doesn't show you because it's just a list of transactions. Second of all, went through splitting expenses. We got a lot of requests around this, so we're very excited to share this with you. And finally, the new arrears view. This was also an area where people were telling us that they were having a bit of trouble reading it. So hopefully this new view is really helpful for you to really understand the history of your relationship with your tenants, your financial relationship. And add-on. So this bit is quite exciting. So there are some bits and pieces that are available to you through Hammock that we don't shout about all at once. So we are starting to talk about them. And the first one of these is Credit Builder. So Credit Builder is a product fully owned by Hammock, and it offers you some products that relate to your tenants. So we do a complete tenant reference, which includes chasing the tenant if they're not providing information to us. So obviously this is a one-off cost for every reference that you ask Hammock to run. And then the second product that's quite interesting that's relating to tenants is the rent reporting to Experian. So if you are particularly interested in offering tenants the opportunity to build their credit file, this is a way where you can effectively report to Experian through Hammock every month, whether the tenant has paid or not on time. And every time they do pay on time, that's improving their credit file and their credit score. So you're actually helping them build credit history just by being renters, which is quite a powerful offering to tenants. If you would like to know more about it, feel free to reach out to either James or myself, or just email hello@usehammock.com, and we can give you more details about it. And then the second product that is available to you now, which we're quite excited about, is the market appraisal report. So the very first one is available to you for free as a promotional way of showing you what's included in a market appraisal. But at a high level, what you can expect to see is information about your property, information about the area around your property, comparison of similar properties that have recently been sold, properties that are for sale, what that value is, how much properties like yours are renting for in the area. So this will give you a really good understanding of how your property sits within the context of properties like it around. So again, you'll get the first one for free. We'll explain how you can do that at the end of this presentation. But if you do have questions and you urgently want to talk about it to someone, feel free to reach out to hello@usehammock.com. So coming soon. So I mentioned the current account earlier. There is a lot happening. Hammock is quite a young company, so we've got a lot of things ahead of us, and we're really excited to bring out. Two that are most interesting and that I get asked about the most are the app and the current account. So as I said, current account is planned to be launched sometime in September. And along with it, we're also going to be launching an app. So this is really a way for you to manage all your property finances on the go. Think of most challenger banks out there. We're trying to build a very similar experience where you can really manage your property finances when it makes sense to you, in a way that makes sense to you. So again, if you would like to know more, feel free to reach out to James or me, or write to hello@usehammock.com. But you can expect us to shout about this a lot more in the coming weeks and coming months. Perfect. So final comment from me. If you would like to get your market appraisal, all you need to do is make sure you have an account with Hammock and that you have all your properties on there. And then just email hello@usehammock.com with the address of the property for which you would like the market appraisal. And then we will send you an email with that report. And we'll also follow up with a recording of this webinar and answers to any questions that we can't cover today. Great. Well, thank you so much for your time for this evening, and we look forward to speaking to you more. Have a good evening, everyone.